Right now, someone weaker than you is winning. Not because they're stronger, not because they're kinder, but because they think sharper. Power doesn't begin with control. It begins in the mind. Because when you can't be controlled, you control everything. 1. The hidden source of power. Most people grow up believing that power comes from control. The ability to make others obey, to hold authority, or to dominate. But Machiavelli understood something deeper. He saw that true power does not begin with force, it begins with the mind. Strength fades, charm eventually dies. Even wealth and influence can disappear. But the power of strategy, the ability to think clearly and act wisely, never loses its value. Throughout history, the people who rose above the rest were rarely the loudest or the strongest. They were the ones who could see ahead, the thinkers who noticed what others ignored. While most people react to what happens, these individuals predict what's coming. They understand that life is like a chessboard. Every move you make shapes the next 10. And if you can think 10 moves ahead, you don't need to fight for power. It naturally moves toward you. Power belongs to those who can stay calm when others panic. When the world is emotional and chaotic, thinkers rise. They don't rush into conflict or waste energy proving themselves. Instead, they step back, observe patterns, and act when the moment is right. This patience and awareness make them appear almost untouchable, as if they control outcomes without trying. To think like that, you must detach from emotion. You can't let anger, jealousy, or fear guide your decisions. These emotions blur vision and cause mistakes. Clarity comes when you can separate what you feel from what you see. A strategic mind studies situations like a scientist, not with ego, but with curiosity. This is the hidden source of power, the ability to think differently, calmly, and intelligently when others are driven by impulse. The world rewards those who don't just react, but who understand. Because in every era, the thinkers may not always look powerful, yet in the end, they are the ones who rule. 2. Intelligence. The real power. Many people believe power comes from control, from giving orders, having money, or holding a position of authority. But real power doesn't come from any of these things. It comes from understanding. When you truly understand how the world works, how people think, and how systems operate, you no longer need to force control. It happens naturally. You guide outcomes not through strength, but through insight. The intelligent don't shout for dominance. They don't need to prove how powerful they are, because real confidence doesn't make noise. It moves with precision. Intelligent people calculate every move like chess players surrounded by pawns. They observe before acting. They wait while others rush. And when they finally move, it's deliberate, strategic, and impossible to predict. Intelligence gives you silent control. When you understand people's motives, you can influence them without resistance. When you understand how emotions shape decisions, you can lead without forcing. Intelligence allows you to read situations the way a general reads a battlefield, noticing every small detail others ignore. That awareness turns knowledge into leverage. Unlike status, looks, or power that depends on others, intelligence can't be stolen, copied, or destroyed. You can lose your wealth or your position, but not your ability to think, analyze, and adapt. Intelligence is self-built. It grows stronger every time you question, observe, and learn. You either train your mind to rise above manipulation, or you stay under the control of those who have. The reason the intelligent are feared is because they cannot be easily deceived. Emotion can be tricked, But logic cannot. They don't react to provocation. They respond with strategy. Every insult becomes information. Every mistake becomes a lesson. And every challenge becomes an opportunity to refine their mind. This is why intelligence is the ultimate power. It's quiet, but unshakable. It doesn't depend on force. It depends on clarity. And those who think clearly will always rule over those who only feel deeply. 3. Cognitive edge conditioning. In today's world, most people don't lose because they are less capable. They lose because their minds have been trained to stay weak. From a young age, society teaches you to chase comfort, avoid challenge, and fill your mind with endless noise. You scroll through distractions, react to everything you see, and slowly lose your ability to think deeply. The result is a generation that confuses activity with progress and emotion with intelligence. But your brain is not meant to live in this dull state. It is designed to grow stronger under pressure, just like a muscle. The more you challenge it, the sharper it becomes. This is where cognitive edge conditioning begins. A method to rewire your brain for precision, foresight, and discipline. It's about training your thoughts to work for you, not against you. Motivation alone will never make you powerful. Motivation fades. It depends on emotion, and emotions change daily. But mental evolution, building a mind that stays focused no matter the chaos, that is what creates lasting power. Cognitive edge conditioning helps you move from being reactive to being strategic. Instead of letting the world control your attention, you learn to control it yourself. You begin by exposing your mind to controlled difficulty, solving complex problems, engaging in deep thinking, and facing small doses of discomfort. Every challenge becomes a workout for your cognition. You teach your brain to stay calm when others panic, to analyze when others complain, and to focus when others drift away. With time, your thoughts become sharper, faster, and more disciplined. Distraction loses its grip, and your attention turns into your greatest weapon. You start predicting outcomes, understanding people, and acting with purpose. Cognitive edge conditioning is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming mentally unbreakable. Because when your mind evolves beyond emotion and fear, nothing outside you can control you again. 4. Create cognitive tension. Comfort is one of the most dangerous traps in the modern world. It feels safe, warm, and easy. But it slowly destroys your ability to think sharply. When everything around you is simple and predictable, your mind stops growing. Just like muscles weaken without exercise, your brain becomes dull without challenge. This is why comfort kills brilliance. True mental strength doesn't come from peace. It comes from pressure. To build a powerful mind, you must create cognitive tension. This means intentionally adding pressure to your thinking process. Not to suffer, but to sharpen. Pressure is the gym for your brain. It forces your mind to adapt, to think faster, to find solutions where others only see problems. Without this tension, intelligence stays asleep. Start engineering small doses of difficulty into your daily life. Solve complex problems that force you to think deeply instead of scrolling aimlessly. Have uncomfortable conversations that challenge your beliefs and emotional control. Make decisions under time pressure instead of waiting for perfect clarity. Each of these moments is a workout for your cognition. You are teaching your mind how to stay calm and creative in the middle of uncertainty. Most people break down when things get hard because they've never trained their minds to handle stress. But if you regularly practice thinking under tension, you'll begin to see what others can't. When everyone else panics, you'll stay composed. When others hesitate, you'll act with precision. Cognitive tension is not about chaos or anxiety. It's about controlled stress. You decide when and how to apply pressure so it strengthens you instead of breaking you. Over time, this process rewires your mind for resilience. You stop fearing challenges and start seeking them, because each one makes you sharper. The world rewards those who can think clearly when others collapse. So don't run from difficulty. Create it. Make pressure your teacher and tension your tool. That's how brilliance is forged. 5. Master predictive thinking power in the modern world doesn't just belong to the strongest or the fastest. It belongs to those who can see ahead. Prediction is the real currency of power. The strong may react quickly, but the wise anticipate before anything even happens. When you can foresee patterns, emotions, and outcomes, you don't need to fight for control. You quietly design it. Predictive thinking is the art of seeing the invisible. It's about understanding cause and effect so deeply that you can look at any situation and already know where it's going. Most people live in reaction mode. They wait for things to happen, then decide how to respond. But by then, it's often too late. The ones who rise in life are those who prepare long before the event occurs. They don't get surprised because they've already mapped the possibilities in their minds. To master predictive thinking, start with observation. Study human behavior. People are not as unpredictable as they seem. Notice patterns, how they speak when they lie, how they act when afraid, what triggers certain reactions. Learn to read emotions, not just words. Every expression, tone, and delay holds information. When you begin to see these patterns, you'll realize most outcomes are not random. They're the logical results of hidden motives and repeated habits. Next, practice forecasting. Whenever you face a situation, ask, if this continues, what happens next? This question trains your brain to simulate the future. The more you practice, the better you get at connecting dots others overlook. Slowly, your thinking becomes strategic, not emotional. Foresight is what turns chaos into calculation. When everyone else is panicking about what's happening now, you'll already be preparing for what happens next. You'll act, not out of impulse, but from clarity. The one who masters predictive thinking doesn't chase control. They create the conditions for it. Because when you can see 10 moves ahead, the game always plays in your favor. 6. Develop mental agility. In a world that changes every second, rigid minds don't survive. They shatter. Those who refuse to adapt are left behind, no matter how intelligent they once were. The ones who rise are not always the strongest or the most educated. They are the most flexible. Mental agility is the ability to shift your thinking quickly, to change direction when needed, and to see possibilities where others only see problems. It is the mark of a truly powerful mind. A rigid mind wants everything to stay the same. It fears uncertainty, clings to old beliefs, and resists change. But the truth is, the world never stays still. Technology evolves, people grow, and systems collapse. If your thinking can't adjust, you'll always be reacting to life instead of leading it. The agile mind, on the other hand, moves with the flow of change. It learns fast, unlearns faster, and finds opportunity inside chaos. To develop mental agility, begin with questioning assumptions. Ask yourself why you believe what you believe. Are your opinions based on truth or habit? Most people defend ideas they've never deeply examined. The agile thinker is never trapped by their own certainty. They are curious, open, and ready to evolve. Next, learn to see multiple paths when others see dead ends. When one plan fails, don't collapse. Pivot. There's always another way forward if you're willing to change your perspective. This flexibility doesn't mean weakness. It means intelligence in motion. Also, practice redefining rules. Every system, idea, or tradition was once created by someone, which means it can be changed. Don't just accept the world as it is. Train your mind to imagine how it could be improved. Finally, make adaptability your instinct. When situations shift, don't waste time resisting. Adjust immediately. The faster your mind adapts, the harder it becomes for anyone to outthink or outmaneuver you. Mental agility turns uncertainty into advantage, because in a changing world, those who can bend without breaking always end up leading those who can't. 7. Harness emotional intelligence. Emotions are powerful. They can build empires or destroy them. Most people are ruled by their emotions without even realizing it. They react to anger with anger, to fear with hesitation, and to doubt with retreat. But emotion, while natural, can easily blind judgment. Logic sees what emotion hides. The person who can control emotion instead of being controlled by it holds an invisible kind of power. The power to command themselves, and through that, command others. Emotional intelligence begins with awareness. You must first see what you feel before you can manage it. When you feel anger, recognize it. When you feel fear, observe it instead of running from it. This simple act of awareness separates you from your emotions and puts you back in control. You stop being a victim of mood swings and start becoming the master of your state of mind. Once you learn to control your own emotions, you can start reading those of others. Human behavior is like a language. Every tone, posture, and silence says something. A calm face may hide anxiety. A loud voice may reveal insecurity. Emotional intelligence allows you to decode these signals and understand what people really mean, not just what they say. This insight gives you a huge advantage in communication, leadership, and influence. When chaos rises, emotionally weak people lose control. They panic, argue, or freeze. But the emotionally intelligent person projects calm. When others rage, you stay composed. When uncertainty spreads, you show quiet confidence. This emotional stability creates trust and authority. People follow those who stay steady when everything else shakes. To harness emotional intelligence is to master the art of self-command. It's not about suppressing feelings. It's about directing them with intention. When your emotions serve your logic, not fight against it, you become unshakable. He who commands himself commands others, because true leadership begins within. 8. Becoming the apex thinker. The apex thinker is not an ordinary person. He is the highest form of a strategic mind. Where most people react to life, he designs it. He doesn't wait for opportunities to appear. He creates them. Chaos, which breaks others, becomes his natural environment. Pressure, which frightens most, becomes his weapon. The apex thinker stands at the top of the mental hierarchy, calm, precise, and almost invisible until he chooses to act. To reach this level, you must first stop reacting emotionally to every situation. Ordinary minds are slaves to impulse. They get angry when provoked, sad when rejected, and anxious when uncertain. The apex thinker, however, is trained to respond with clarity instead of emotion. He studies events like a scientist, detached, curious, and focused on patterns, not feelings. This emotional control turns confusion into data and fear into strategy. He understands that life is a game of cause and effect. Every word spoken, every decision made, every silence held, all have consequences. While others move blindly through emotion, he calculates several steps ahead. He predicts reactions, plans contingencies, and influences outcomes without ever revealing his hand. His strength is subtle but undeniable. The apex thinker doesn't need attention or recognition. His power comes from invisibility. By moving quietly, he avoids resistance and gains freedom to operate from the shadows. His confidence is not loud. It is silent and rooted in understanding. Becoming such a thinker means sharpening your mind until it becomes immune to manipulation. Fear no longer controls you because you see through it. Confusion doesn't slow you down because you analyze it. Pressure doesn't break you because you've trained under it. When your mind becomes sharper than fear, faster than confusion, and colder than manipulation, you become untouchable. The world bends, not because you force it, but because you understand it better than anyone else. That is the power of the apex thinker, call to action. Your mind is your empire. Protect it, sharpen it, and rule with intelligence that no one can manipulate. If this message awakened something in you, like the video, share it to empower another mind, and subscribe for more lessons from the psychology of power. Drop this in the comments. My mind controls destiny.